No Victocrats allowed. Why? Because we've got a country to save. Join me, Larry Elder, tonight starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy and Lindsey Graham was on over the weekend talking about impeachment, as is his wont. And Graham with Maria Bartiromo had this to say about where things stand and where they will go if the whistleblower's a no-show in the House.
And the fact that they don't want to call him tells you everything they know, everything you need to know about how valid this effort is to impeach the president. It is impossible to conduct an impeachment inquiry when the chief complaining witness is unknown to the president, not subject to cross-examination. It's impossible to bring this case forward, in my view, fairly, without us knowing who the whistleblower is and having a chance to cross-examine them about any biases they may have. So if they don't call the whistleblower in the House, this thing is dead on arrival in the Senate. That's what's going to happen. When you find out who the whistleblower is, I'm confident you're going to find out it's somebody from the deep state. You're going to find out that they had interactions with the Schiff, and this thing's going to stink to high heaven. And the only reason we don't know who the whistleblower is, that it hurts their cause.
No whistleblower, DOA in the Senate, says Lindsey Graham. Does John Kass agree? John Kass, Chicago Tribune columnist, has written on the topic who he thinks should be the first to testify in these proceedings, which begin in earnest in public for the first time on Wednesday. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys.
So you think
going out here?
Yeah. So we heard the drive-in.
And I was trying to get a cat for Amy's birthday.
Oh.
You know, a black cat with cloven hooves just for Amy, but if I put it in my car, it would suck out my soul before I got there. So, because that's what cats do, Amy.
No, cats are heroes, and I did tweet out something directly to you to prove to you how a cat saved an 8-month-old from falling down the stairs, probably to its death. Okay.
Yeah, and I tweeted back that the cat sucked the baby's soul out, and it's not on video.
We'll have more John Kass, Amy Jacobson cat talk on our premium content after the show. You can stay.
Sorry, Daddy.
Yeah. So as to your column, the whistleblower and Adam Schiff should be the first to testify in these proceedings. Why do you say such a thing?
Well, first things first, I write the column the Sunday column on Friday before Lindsey Graham had to adopt my points for his talking points.
Sure, right.
But, the main thing is that if you're going to take out a president a year before an election, don't you want to know how the whole thing started?
Yep.
Don't you want to know what the whistleblower did with members of the committee, with the colonel, anybody else? Don't you want to know who is this person? I do. I mean, I think that if this is an exercise in getting rid of the president, impeaching him, then that's a must, because after that's over, if you impeach a president, remove him from office, you're going to have divisions in the country. And if they care about the country, that's what they would do. Maybe this is just, Adam Schiff's campaign for Senate using government funds and taxpayer money so he could he replaced Dianne Feinstein.
Are you surprised?
I don't know,
are you surprised at how much protection they're granting this whistleblower? I mean, talk of sending him to an undisclosed location, and I agree with you. He needs to be out in the public. We need to know, what his motives are, because I don't think they're the right ones.
Well, I did say I wanted to know what his motives are, but what I'd really want to know, outside the particulars of what he thinks he may have been told about the phone call, because I don't think he was listening to it.
Yeah, he had secondhand knowledge.
Yeah, secondhand knowledge is how did all this come to Schiff's committee? Who talked to him? Who in the old days you used to say, who's the Chinaman? Who's behind him? What is this about? I think that's important. Dan?
Yeah, well, here's the other thing too. Something Lindsey Graham said there at the end with Bartiromo about. I think you're going to find that this is a deep state. He's a member of the deep state. This whistleblower. I mean, of course, his name a name has been put out there in the public arena. I'll say it, Eric Charamella, by Paul Sperry at RealClearInvestigations.com. Now, this is a name that is verboten to speak inside the Beltway. It's all really a bit silly as far as I'm concerned. But that hasn't been disputed, by the way. Sperry's report hasn't been disputed by anyone that I've heard. So, assuming that that's the case, there's other things that other dots that may ultimately connect. I don't know. I'm not in the business of conspiracy theorizing, but I am in the business of asking questions, as you are doing, John. And the question that I have was there communication between the whistleblower, not just in Schiff or Schiff staff, but FBI agents that were involved in the 2016 investigations of both Hillary Clinton as well as the Trump campaign? Because there's some suggestion.
Bingo.
There's some suggestion that this individual who was named was communicating with Strzok and Page, and actually two Republican senators, Ron Johnson and Chuck Grassley, have sent a memo to the Department of Justice intimating the same thing, asking questions in and around that topic area. Was this collaboration, if you will, from the beginning?
That's the bingo. That's what we need to know. Because Ukraine is about 2016, not 2020. Democrats want to talk about it as, he's attacking Biden and the candidacy in 2020. No, it's about 2016 and what happened there. And I believe that's what John Durham is looking at, what William Barr is looking at, what Horowitz will be looking at. And that is vital. It's vital for Democrats too, because you have to know what happened. If it's about just raw power and taking people out because you have the votes, then come to Illinois. This is how it's done in Illinois. I don't think that should be that way. We should know who. What are the particulars of 2016 and this young man or woman? I linked to Paul Sperry's, Real Clear Investigations. I did not identify him because I don't know who it is. I know that other people are saying, but we need to know exactly what you're asking. Who did what in 2016?
Well, and it's important to point out that Adam Schiff last week narrowed the scope of questions. And he's making Republicans have to answer these questions in a way that he finds compelling to level up their witnesses before the committee he chairs. And it's all designed to avoid have anybody testifying that could be put in an uncomfortable situation and have to answer any of the uncomfortable questions that we're asking. It is all about basically, how much did the president abuse his power in the conversation with Zelensky? It might as well be that question. It's just worded more artfully.
It's all about all Schiff has been doing for the past 2 weeks, bringing the other diplomats forward and rearranging the questions and framing the question the way he wants, is to increase the distance between the whistleblower and Schiff and his committee and what they want to talk about. It's all a hide the pea moment, hide the pea under the walnut shells. But this is the presidency of the United States, and more than 60 million people voted for a man, and you can't just take him out because you're good at jujitsu.
Well, they can't take him out in 2020, so this is their last hurrah, I think. But what about the Republicans' witness list, and how do you feel about Hunter Biden possibly being called in as a witness?
I think that part of that is, what a good defense would do to try to change the subject. Hunter Biden should be, it's an important part of the investigation. Is an important part of impeachment? I don't know, but it all begins at the beginning, and the beginning is 2016. What this guy did or this woman did, to further the attack on Trump. That's what it's. I'm amazed at the hysteria I experienced from the left. I mean, they were frothing at the thumbs on Twitter over the weekend. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, they're losing their minds over this.
Because they just want by any means necessary to remove Trump from office. The substance of the case doesn't matter, and that's a really dangerous mentality, because that can have a tendency to boomerang on you at some point down the road.
That's the point that I don't think that I think people that want to just ends by any to win by any means necessary on the left. They think about it like this, or they want their Supreme Court justices to do what they want, that they can't get through legislation. It's all of a piece, but it can boomerang. And ultimately, really, what I was writing about was guarding their freedom and their liberty as well.
Well,
and they just don't want to see it.
I suppose, though, this is just the culmination of Democrat tactics against Republican presidents for 60 years. I mean, it's a fact. Now, they haven't gotten this far. The challenge hasn't been this serious, but this is the metastasization of it. It's a fact that every Republican president since Eisenhower, every Republican president elected, so excluding Ford, 5 of the last 6 Republican presidents have had articles of impeachment filed against them, at least in resolution form, by Democrats. No, so they never got close to Reagan. They never got close to W or HW, of course, but they did it just as they did it on any number of other matters against this president. We've talked about in this show for the most ridiculous of things, criticizing NFL players for not kneeling, AOC carrying on about tax cuts, passing tax cuts is an impeachable offense. I mean, these are not serious people, except to the extent they're serious about the ends justifying the means with respect to rejecting the 2016 election results.
But one thing is clear: Schiff is having the Beltway media. You call them the Beltway media. I call them the Democratic media complex. I'm talking about the New York, Washington axis. They are carrying his water. They are carrying his football, and that to me is just. It's just not good for the Republic to see this happen.
Well,
sunshine in all things. Sunshine, let it all out. Let's see it.
Okay, Justice Brandeis. Let me ask you this: is it twofold though? Is the carrying of the water twofold? It's not only to take out Trump; it's also to and carry water for Schiff, who's just an instrument. It's also to protect Hillary. Holman Jenkins writing in the Journal. I'm going to get your reaction to this over the weekend.
Yeah.
When history assesses blame, Hillary Clinton, not Mr. Trump, will be the biggest sinner of our time. Mrs. Clinton continues to flog the claim, and increasingly wildly targeting Greens and dissenting Democrats, that Russia controls our politics. Any day now, she can be expected to declare that Michael Bloomberg is another Russian asset. In a few years, Trump's passage through our national life will not seem so hysterically important as it does now. Mrs. Clinton, whatever she may have achieved in life, deserves to be remembered finally as the coward who put the country second because she couldn't accept the legitimacy of her defeat.
I just remember the bleeding voice of Chris, what's his name, the one on Sunday on Fox?
Chris Wallace.
Chris Wallace.
Asking
the president, oh, how dare you? How dare you not suggest that you wouldn't support the legitimacy of this election when they all thought Hillary was going to win.
Right.
And then all these people that serve Hillary and serve the establishment, they're nothing more than the Kemalists of the post-Ottoman Empire. These are people who are holding on in the media and in politics to their perch in the empire, what was the empire, and they will destroy anyone who's in their way. And I'm not saying Trump is a man of virtue, because we know he's not. He's not virtuous, and he's the imperfect vessel here. But the point is, he's there, and they are terrified of this guy, and we're going to see it all or let's hope we'll see it when Durham and Horowitz come out with their reports.
That's Kamala's Kemal, not Kamala. Yeah, I just want to clarify that there.
No, that would be yeah. That I don't have a T-shirt with Mustafa Ataturk on my T-shirt.
Or Kamala Harris, for that matter. Yeah, right. John Kass, Chicago Tribune columnist. Check out his piece. The whistleblower and Rep. Adam Schiff should be the first to testify in Trump Impeachment Theater. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey